Welcome to the Smile Sisters podcast, powered by the LA Dental Clinic. In each episode of the Smile Sisters, host Dr. Ozzy and Dr. Arazu Nasiri show you how you can transform and maintain your smile. The sisters explain everything you need to know about your mouth and why keeping it healthy is key to your overall health.
Welcome back to the Smile Sisters podcast. What are we talking about?
So today we're going to talk about smile design and, what factors that your dentist should be looking at. And so you should be asking about when you're going to go get it done. So one of the things that we do when we do a smile makeover, when we do veneers or bonding, is we create a trial smile first. So we'll do a design of your teeth with the shape of the teeth that we want. We want to make the teeth longer, more square, whatever we want to do.
Right.
And then we get to try that in your mouth and make sure that it looks good, that you like your smile. But that's not the only reason that it's done. It's good to try it out and make sure that the patient likes the smile that you want to create.
Right.
But it also serves as a guide for the dentist. So when we do a trial smile and when you come in and we're going to prepare your teeth for the veneers.
What does that mean, prepare your teeth?
So if you're going to get veneers have to have a certain thickness to them. It's usually, they can be very thin, like 0.3 to 0.5 millimeters in thickness. So It's really, really thin. They get thicker if we're trying to do different things, but at least at that minimum thickness they need to be.
Right.
So if your teeth are sort of sticking out a bit, then we need to prep them a bit to push them in so that...
Cut them a little bit.
Cut them, yeah. So cut the teeth a little bit in order to make room for the veneer so then it doesn't look too bulky in your mouth.
Right.
Correct? And so the smile design really helps us. So if you come in and we've created a smile design, I'll actually take that with temporary material, put it over your teeth, and then prepare your teeth through that. So then I'll make something called depth cuts. And I'll make a depth cut of like 0.3 millimeters through this material.
So you know exactly where to cut because the material will only, the tooth will only show through in the parts where you need to remove tooth.
Exactly. So we can be super conservative and very exact about how much removal we do.
Right.
So if one of your teeth is sticking out somewhat, then the depth cuts will go through the tooth. If one of your teeth is shorter and smaller and more in, and we're trying to add to it, when I do those depth cuts, I'm only gonna go through the kind of trial smile material that's over your teeth. And then I peel all that stuff off and I see where there's cuts in your tooth and I smooth that out. And often where we're adding to teeth to make them bigger, longer, whatever, we haven't cut the teeth at all.
Right.
We've just cut through the kind of trial smile design.
Right.
So it creates a very exact sort of template for us to follow so that the veneers are the exact thickness that we want. And so they don't end up being too thin. But also, we're not kind of over prepping your teeth. So it gives us a really stable guide. The other thing it does is it helps us see where we need to add to your back teeth to support your front teeth. So often people want to, lengthen their front teeth, right? Because they say, when I'm talking, I don't show any teeth. I want to lengthen my front teeth. When you lengthen the front kind of 4 teeth, you need to support it by adding to your canines as well. This is called Canine Guidance. And this is when you grind your teeth.
No animals have been harmed.
No animals have been guided.
No.
But some teeth. So your canines, which are your eye teeth, these teeth right here, they support your jaw. When you move your jaw to the side, like to the right and to the left, you ride off of these teeth like a ramp because they're kind of like these tubular teeth, and they have like a ramp on them, kind of on the inside. So your jaw slides against that, and you avoid banging into your front teeth.
So these teeth are really important, the canines. They're kind of like 4 pillars that are on the 4 kind of corners of our mouths.
Yes.
And they have really, really long roots.
Yes.
And evolutionarily, that is, I think that's such a long word. That's because they really do support the whole jaw. So they need these big, long roots and into bone because as you're chewing and moving your jaw around, they take a lot of that
They take
force.
a lot of the force,
Yeah.
for sure, yeah. So if you lengthen your front teeth, but you don't add also to your canines, then when you grind your teeth side to side, you may end up rubbing against either your front teeth, really,
right,
and sort of chipping off or breaking off bonding or veneers or whatever you have on those teeth, or your own natural teeth.
right.
So often people who come in who've had veneers done or bonding, and they're like, these keep popping up, and you take a look, sure enough, they don't have canine guidance.
They don't have canine guidance.
Those canines haven't been, added to.
They haven't been guided.
They haven't been guided. And it's super important to create that. Also, if you don't have that, sometimes you end up riding against your back molars, which can cause things like TMJ.
Right.
And often people who are bruxers, people who grind their teeth, have ground off their canines completely.
Yeah.
And now they are grinding off their back teeth, and their bite starts to collapse. That means their jaw starts to kind of overclose because their teeth are just shorter. So when they bite down, they're overclosed, and that causes a lot of TMJ issues for them.
Yeah. Also, like, it's interesting looking at the teeth from just how they're shaped and the roots and stuff, and you can see like what function they're meant to have.
Totally.
So right behind our canines, we have a first premolar, and then right behind that we have a second premolar, where the first premolar has 2 roots, the second premolar has 1 root. And that's because of the same thing, because the first premolar is like a helper to the canine to help it kind of take the force. So it's actually developed like extra support for itself. So it can help that lateral force, whereas the second premolar is mainly a chewing tooth. So now it only needs 1 root because the force is only going up and down.
Sure.
So once we lose the kind of like functional part of the teeth, then everything just collapses, because now all the teeth are not sure like what job they're supposed to do.
Right,
basically.
and they have to do things that they're not meant to do, which wears and tears on them and causes some issues. So often when we decide on, smile design, if my patient wants to lengthen their 4 front teeth, I immediately look at the canines.
Right.
Do I need to add to these to support that?
Yes.
Sometimes not. If the canines are really long and pointy and they're there and they somehow have worn off just their front teeth for whatever reason and we need to lengthen them, or they have smaller
or sometimes
front teeth.
They're in the wrong position, like they're turned or there's a space or something, so they're long and they haven't been ground down, but they're just not in the right place to do that guidance.
Oh, totally. That's where orthodontics can come in and help us. Yeah. So bruxism, and that's like the first stop that you lose, and then everything sort of starts to fall apart.
Right.
So building that up. So often we're just like building canines back up, just putting fillings on them. And really, if you grind them off, you're grinding off the fillings, which is much healthier.
Which is totally replaceable.
Replaceable, exactly, yeah.
And we do have patients who come in regularly where we're just adding a little ramp on the back of their canines.
Sometimes, yeah.
And, they wear a night guard and, all this stuff. But that little piece of ramp, like it's like a little piece of filling, but it acts like a guide for how their jaw should shift, and it prevents grinding and it prevents all this other issues.
Yeah, it prevents chipping of their front teeth and often like wear and tear on their back teeth.
Yeah. There's also this one night guard that is basically like a tiny little piece. I forget the name of it.
So that you just wear it to open your bite. So often these guards are used just to deprogram your jaw,
right?
So that you don't clench and bite onto your back teeth,
right?
So sometimes if people have really ground their teeth down, so that their bite is collapsed, that means all of their teeth are shorter. You're trying to reestablish their open bite. You're just trying to open them up a bit, and sometimes we do this by putting a crown or onlay or veneer on like every tooth in their mouth and making every tooth a little bit taller.
Yes.
So it's like a full mouth reconstruction. And sometimes before we do that, we'll have them wear some sort of appliance that helps to open their bite.
It's like a deprogrammer, we call it.
Yeah, it's a deprogrammer. And then they wear this for a while and see at what position their jaw feels comfortable, and then you use that as your guide to build their teeth back up.
So anyways, it's interesting to see how function and form follow each other. And when you lose the form, when something loses the shape that it was intended to have, it loses its function. And then that affects the whole system. Right. And then that can create other issues like TMJ and headaches and all kinds of things can happen just because like one piece of tooth is missing. It's crazy to think about it.
It is, but it
way.
collapses the whole structure.
It collapses the whole system.
Yeah, we're like a house of cards.
We are. Everything is so fragile and so dependent on each other.
Yes.
So it's just fascinating to me to like think about it in a holistic point of view.
Yeah, but I talk to patients every day about canine guidance because they come in, they're like, I want these teeth to be longer, or I had these veneers done and they keep popping off, and I'm like, sure enough, you have no canine guidance. What is that?
Hire a canine guider.
Yes. And so anyway, what my point was that the smile design is a guide for me to figure out, where do I need to add support if we want to actually lengthen your front teeth, or you've ground your teeth down, or you're popping off your veneers, or you're chipping your teeth off. Why are you doing that? Like, what is going on? So figuring out the root cause instead of just slapping on some more material on there is really important. And that's what will keep your veneers or your teeth healthy. So find a provider who's willing to go on this journey with you, do the smile design and try it in, because it's not just to show you how pretty we can make your teeth, it's also to guide us and help us plan your case so it turns out well.
But I mean, I just have to say, as dentists, like I had a lady come in and sure enough, she had a chipped front tooth.
Sure.
And it wasn't because like she hit it, it's just worn down, right? So it's because her bite is biting in a certain way that's causing one tooth to be like looks tilted.
Right.
And she wants me to add she wants me to add a filling to it, right?
Yes.
And I told her, okay, yeah, we can add a filling, but first we have to do like this. Because if I just add a filling to this, it's gonna break like as soon as you walk out of here. Because there's just no way this thing is gonna stay on. And she left really upset. And I mean, that's partly my fault. Maybe I didn't explain it properly, but people just don't expect all this stuff to fix like a little chip, So it's a little bit hard for me as a dentist to kind of like consolidate those two expectations of, yes, we want to do work that lasts a long time and looks good and functions correctly, but to also meet the expectation of someone who just wants a front tooth chip fixed, which it seems like a simple thing. So sometimes it's just hard to kind of like get past what your expectations are of what the treatment should be.
Like anything else, it's about communication, right? And
yeah.
But you're right, and I've been burned before. Like I had a patient who came in and he goes, he's an actor, and he had this bonding, and then one of them chipped, and he's like, and I'm like, yeah, you don't have canine guidance, your back teeth your lower teeth are crowded, this is why this is breaking on you. Oh, I have, a shoot this weekend.
Right.
I really need this fixed. Can you just fix my front tooth?
Yeah.
And then I promise I'll be back, we'll deal with everything else.
And he was going on a boat. The shoot was on a boat. I remember him. It was like in the middle of the ocean.
So we fixed it, and he left, and he was gone for 2 years, and he came back with it broken again. And he's like, well, this broke. I'm like, well, okay, well, it lasted 2 years, first of all, which I didn't expect.
Right.
But really, you're supposed to come back. So, it's like, so I've been burned. So now I'm a little bit like, no, like I'm not doing that until you've like fixed the back teeth, because I know it's going to come back to haunt us.
Right.
So, but of course we want to help our patients who say they have
Of course, we wanted them to do fix stuff. Like that's our job.
But this is why we have the conversations and talk about, we need to address all these other issues first.
Yes.
So anyways, find a dentist you trust and then listen to them.
Listen to your dentist.
Sometimes, you've had a problem that's happened for years and years. You've been grinding your teeth off for years and years, and then you want us to, fix
or
the
like
front
a little
teeth.
piece of tooth keeps chipping and it's been repaired, and another dentist has repaired it, and then the first one lasted, the second one didn't last, the third one didn't last, because the bite is just grinding down. And
Sure.
So it's not about the dentist who did it, it's about the whole system functioning correctly so that each tooth can have the correct shape that it's meant to have.
Yes.
Yes.
So find a provider and look at a holistic approach to get your bite right and to make it beautiful. It can all work together.
It does. And when form and function meet, that's where beauty comes in, because everything that we consider beautiful is because we see something healthy that's functioning correctly.
That's correct.
And that's beautiful to us.
Yes,
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. Well, hope that was useful.
Yeah, so if you want a smile design consultation, you can go to our website, LA Dental Clinic, and we'll see you there.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to The Smile Sisters. If you found this episode helpful, subscribe and leave us a review. To book a free consultation, go to ladentalclinic.com.